To live Tabal is to live a happy, relationship-filled life. I'm a conduit to chocolate. I want to use chocolate to bring people together and build community. Some of the best cacao in the world right now comes from Central and South America and the Caribbean.
My father started with the cacao business around 50 years ago. That was the way that he found to feed the family, to support the family. For me, the family is a big word, and that word means many people around us. When I started to looking for chocolate market for us, from the beginning I focused in the USA chocolate market. I believe that good connection with American market would be good for us. Dan was the first one that took me seriously without knowing me.
And my core, I'm an educator, and that's why when we choose a farmer like Miguel in Colombia, that I really want to make sure that his bean is distinctly different from the other beans. He was trying to introduce bean to bar chocolate makers to his beans, and I thought the beans, quite frankly, in the beginning, were not very good. And so I said, hey, this is what's good about it. This is what you need to work on. Here's some resources. I contacted a very talented grower in Costa Rica and got him hooked up with some more resources on how to ferment his beans better. 3.5 years later, we ordered our first pallet of his cacao beans, and now it's one of our favorites and best-selling chocolates.
It's an artisan chain, an artisan cacao farmers, artisan chocolate makers. They mix it, the combination that produce a nice artisan chocolate.
I'm thrilled with the fact that we've stuck with Miguel and that he has felt that support, that if he's going to grow those beans, they're going to be bought.
We can dream, we can inspire to others to live better, but now the people is starting to dream again.
I like to think of it as a developing thing over the long term, mutually beneficial. If we're successful, I want the farmer to be successful. I want good quality. They want access to market in the United States.
1840 was the first year a commercial brewery started in the city of Milwaukee. We picked that name because it's a very important time in Milwaukee's history, and we wanted to call to mind the types of beer we make. You know, we make slow beer here. I call it consumable art. It's a way to reach back into the past and bring it forward while also looking forward to the future. My wife and I love the community aspect of it, the fact that this beverage brings people together. Beer for me is a journey of education and learning, and I'm always trying to discover more. Anytime that we create a recipe and we want to use things that we've never used, like chocolate, I lean on people who know what they're doing.
We've had a variety of brewers come in, and we'll lay out probably 10 different nib origins. We have a flavor profile that we present with each nib. It's exciting for them because they never get to do that. It's a very unique experience.
We went out to Tabal and met with Dan and his crew, getting feedback from them. Like, how do I incorporate chocolate? Explain to me the process, because I want to know how they make what they make so that I understand how it's going to translate into what we make. We know we're having a real impact when we're buying this stuff in bulk from people who work directly with the farmers who are producing it. And so while we get to see the direct impact that our products can have on our local community, it's neat to know that our products are also having an impact that's, you know, worldwide.
When you buy a Tabal chocolate bar, you are supporting good people.
When you buy Tabal chocolate, you have a ripple effect all the way back to the farmers that are growing the cacao that we use to make this chocolate. So it's a worldwide effect. It might be small, but it's growing. The other fun thing I forgot to mention is we have gelato, free gelato for everybody at the end. And so we really appreciate you coming. Without further ado, hey, come on out here. I want to introduce Miguel Angel Beltran from Santander, Colombia, or El Carmen de Chucurí is the small town that he's from. So, welcome to Wauwatosa.
I can say first 2 or 3 very important things. One of them is Thanks for your time. I really appreciate that you stay today and right now here. And the other thing is that present my excuses in advance because my English is not very good.
It's pretty good. He does good.
First thing is, as you saw in the video, my name is Miguel Ángel Beltrán Marín. I am from El Carmen de Chucurí. It's a small town in the Andes mountain. I grew up in the middle of the cacao plantations. And 7 years ago, I took the decision to come back to my mountains, to my region, to my community, to start to do something different. We create a project that we call Bosques de Cacao, like cocoa forest. Bosques de Cacao Yariguíes. Yariguíes is the name of original indigenous people who lived in our mountains until 100 years ago. In honor of these original indigenous people, we call Bosques de Cacao Yariguíes our project. We are here in Colombia. In Colombia, we are here in Santander State, close to 200 kilometers from Bucaramanga, in a small town, in a small municipality, El Carmen de Chucurí. Today, we want to talk a lot about cacao, and I want to start with this interesting question. If there is someone that wants to help me, where does cacao come from? Do you know, someone of you, where is the origin of the cacao? Asia? Don't know.
Antarctica, Wisconsin.
No?
France.
Not Spain.
No, it's Spain. No, Spain, for sure. No idea? No? Okay, today I want to share with you very important information that come from the Amazonas area. This area between Colombia, Ecuador, Venezuela, Peru, and Brazil. It is the origin of the cacao. Right now, the biggest cacao producer are in Africa. Ivory Coast and Ghana are the biggest. But that was because the Spain people went with the cacao to Africa in the colonizers' times. It is something really important. The origin of the cacao is America. It is how this works. The first step to harvest cacao is we produce the cacao trees in a nursery, and when the baby cacao tree have around 4 months old, we plant in the field, in the cacao plantation, and now we are planting together in combination with big trees, looking for agroforestry, and we need to wait 4 years. Next slide, please. 4 years to get our first pots. We plant, and we need to wait 4 years to cut our first pot. And then when we want to produce high quality cacao, special cacao, we choose just the right pot. We need to choose between different variety, depending on the thing that we want to do. Because in our cacao plantation we have many diseases and many problems. In some cases, squirrels really like this fresh juice that is inside of the cacao pot, or the woodpeckers also like. make a hole in the pot to eat the muesli or cacao pulp that cover the beans. But we didn't kill the squirrels or the woodpeckers because in the world there are two markets for cacao beans. A huge market for regular cacao beans is 95% of the market is to regular cacao beans, and just 5% or less is for special cacao beans like Tabal, like Tabal chocolate. For that reason, when we want to produce real good cacao, a special cacao, develop special flavors in our cacao beans, we just choose cacao pots beautiful like as this. But it's really important that you understand that not always the cacao pots are like this. We produce two kind of we produce two different qualities because we use the pots with some disease or because the squirrels open or the woodpeckers. We produce regular cacao, and the other ones is to produce the special cacao. We have three colors. From my viewpoint, we have three colors in the cacao pots: green, yellow, and red. When the green pods are already ripe, ready to harvest, become yellow, and the red ones just change the intensity of the red. When it's still young, when it's still a baby pod, it's dark red, and when it's already ripe to harvest, it's almost orange. But for me, it's still red. And when you open the pot inside, you can see something like this, a white thing, like white beans, but inside is not white. It is we call this cacao pulp or muesli. Right now we are involved with some researchers, with some universities in Colombia, trying looking for some uses, how we can use this cacao pulp for cacao pulp to make other things because have very interesting properties. But the only thing is that it's hard to collect because just a few minutes, hours after you open the pot, the fermentation process starts. Because yes, please. Because the key of good flavor in the cacao beans is I think that the main topics is varieties. We need to choose the best varieties. The other very important thing is the fermentation, and of course harvest. You need to cut the cacao pot in the properly time, in the exact time. And you can see different colors inside these pots. Which one is this color? Brown. Red.
More red.
Okay.
Purple.
Purple. It's purple. And this one is white. White inside. It is the main classification of the cacao varieties is in three varieties: Forastero, Criollo, and Trinitario. The best quality, the best cacao in the world is Criollo, and the main characteristic is the beans inside the pots. The fresh beans are white, and that means that don't gonna be bitter compared with Forastero. It is Trinitario, and the Forastero would be more darker inside. And we remove the fresh beans, we put in a small basket, and then we put in wood boxes to make the fermentation process. We left there by 2 days covered without move, without stir. We don't want that the air come inside the first 2 days. And this is when the fermentation process happens, because the mucil, the cacao pulp, have around 50% sugar in a natural way. And then we start to move age 24 hours the cacao beans, looking for other reaction. The alcohols that are produced in this first step start to become in acid, in acetic acid and in lactic acid, that after 6 or 7 days the magic gonna happen, that the flavor in the beans gonna be developed. But we need to wait around 7 or 8 days.
When you eat chocolate, 60% of the flavor is coming from that process. So you could have, like wine, you could have the best grapes in the world, but you could make junk wine out of it. So it's very important, that fermentation process.
Next.
Big delay.
We made the fermentation control with with the main quality test in cacao that we call, everybody call cut test. We open the beans and check if it's already fermented.
Should I show them?
Yes.
Nancy, can you grab that?
Because as you can imagine, all the time is not the same. The process is not exactly the same, because the weather conditions and things like this. For that reason, after 6 days, we start to open some beans, aged 12 hours, looking for the exact point when we see the beans are ready to go to the dry process. Then when the cacao is already fermented, we put in the roof of our house. We have a system that permit us cover the beans when rain is coming. And because we have our rooms, our house below this, we cannot forget close the roofs. This is a good strategy to the cacao don't be wet.
When do you harvest? What month?
What?
What month of the year do you harvest?
We have harvest, cacao harvest almost all the year. In our region, we just have not cacao September, August, September, and October. Not cacao. But we have peak seasons, December, February, and May, July. And when we dry the beans, we need the moisture, the humidity, be around 7% inside the beans. And then, when the cacao beans are already dry, we made another cut test. We made many cut tests to check the quality in the.
And that's what you just looked at. That's kind of checking quality. Okay.
For us, produce good cacao and try to find markets that have interest in buying, produce good chocolate is something more than just high quality. we are really involved with sustainability, yeah, because we know that the sustainable development is under these three topics, very important topics: environmental, social, and economic. The main the people just focus in this topic, but for us is these two are first. For that reason, we create with some farmers around Cacao Farmer Association, because we are outside of a natural national park, to share the knowledge that Dan helped me too much to develop this knowledge about cacao, because in South America, just the huge companies, for example, in Colombia, we have two big companies that they develop knowledge in these companies about cacao, but at the end, in many cases, using government money, public money, but they never give this knowledge to the farmers. They just are focusing in make money and not focusing sustainability. For that reason, for us was necessary develop our own knowledge about this. I am a chemical engineer. I was working for a few years for a Colombian oil company. For that reason, for me was not easy, but was not easy. But when I found someone that guide me, I started to learn faster about how important is biochemical in our beans, how important is chemical in our beans, because when you go to the university to train, in my case, as a chemical engineer, the university always push you in oil business, and it's a difficult thing. Oh, I can use this knowledge to help my community to, for example, in cacao business or in other kind of agricultural business. I think that was the thing that took me more time understand this, because when you are training in universities, just to follow rulers, follow orders, and it's difficult that you discover that you can do things for others, to other people. For that reason, we create this farmer association. Young people, now you can go to my area and talk with all these young boys, and they gonna talk with you a lot about cacao, a lot about these things that we are talking about, fermentation, about acid acetic, and about cold test. 7 years ago, nobody knew in our region about these things. I think that everyone have some gift, some special things that you can help others. In many cases, people think that you just can help others with money, and I think that it is not true. You can help others in different way. I spent like 2 years knocking in the door, in the government doors. I have an idea because my town is the oldest town producing cacao in Colombia. But we have some problems. Not now. 30 years ago, we had a horrible war in our area. And I think that now we are a real peaceful place, but we need to use these peace times to the people be involved an interesting thing, because when you didn't know your history, you are in risk repeat. Mm? I try to get the attention from the government, but was not possible. Okay, your idea is good, but it's not possible. You cannot export a small quantity. You need a big container. Nobody want to go to your town because nobody know your town. But for me, that was like a challenge. I need to buy. I'm gonna prove that you are wrong, and that we can make interesting thing. And I start to looking for inside what special things I had. And I discovered that I made, when I was in the university, I made many contacts, and I start to looking for research project with this university, and now the Farmer Association are involved in with around 3 universities, really high-tech researchers, of course, around cacao. And we are related with another international research center that care about environment and biodiversity. Yes, now for that reason again, the young people in my community know about how make a little bit research. Now they are open mind with the research. We have also a volunteer program, do you know, WOOF, Worldwide Organic Organization Farm, something like this. And we are also in World Packers. And from 2015, we start to receive volunteers from around the world, and right now more 250 foreigners has been spent at least 2 or 3 weeks in our farm, learning about how is behind of the chocolate. What is the job to produce a good cacao to special chocolate. I think that the more important thing here is relationship and innovation. But the people need to rethink what means innovation. Innovation is not just high-tech. In some cases, I think that high-tech is a good opportunity for huge company make money when you really don't understand what it means innovation. For us, for example, we surprised Dr. Daniel and Dan with this ice cream in a fresh cacao pot, and mix the flavor, the ice cream with the muesli, and was something incredible thing, and very unique flavor. And here is Dan and Dr. Daniel in our farm, because we are also developing a tourism project in our, not just our farm, in our region. And because the pandemic, this situation pushed us to go into virtual tourism. Now we join to a web page, program, platform. Sorry, that the name, his name is Esariri. They show to the people in the city about farmers and about indigenous people traditions and things like this. And 2 weeks ago, we made our first sale, virtual tourism, to really nice school in Bogota, Colombia. And they pay us very well for show through the camera how the cacao is, and was amazing experience because the boys, especially the little ones, they made a very interesting question. I think that they, for them, for the young, for the small boys, it's natural these virtual things, and yes, we use a camera, a phone, and we show we show what things we do.
Miguel did a live visit with Edgewood College in Madison, and kind of gave a walking tour in the jungle of what he does. And it was pretty cool.
It is innovation. And I think that we can go in the next slide. Innovation. Innovation. And he's my son, 6 years old. In 1 week. Six years old in 1 week. And this word is, I think that is the most important for us, a generational renewal. We are working too hard for this because we want that our people stay in the mountains for sure, but we want that in the future the boys, the teenagers, the young people have they can make the comparison between how can I live in the city and how can I live in the mountains. And if we work hard, we can create the good condition to the young people in the future say, I can stay here. I can stay here, and I'm gonna protect this area. I'm gonna take care my environment. We are working hard in ecological ecological practices to do this teaching because in some cases you can see things that others cannot see. We have a river close in the border of our farm, and I tell my neighbors, we need to care this river, because if you ask all guys, all people, this other river that is close to the town 50 years ago was clean water, and now it's a mess. If we don't care about this river, our sons or grandsons don't gonna have clear water. The government or the big organization talk a lot about this, but you need go real deep to touch the people to change, because the other way this don't gonna happen.
The area where he's from is the second most biodiverse area in the planet. So just really amazing place.
Right now we are working with some organization because in some cases when you are rich, when you are well, we are well in biodiversity, but that can be a bad thing for us because we also have minerals in the air, petroleum and things like this, and now we are trying to stop these big companies to go into our land or region. And I think that it is one of the best things that we are doing now. To the government it's difficult to say we can make more productive things with your lands. If we prove that we can make better things with the cacao, gonna be more difficult for the government say things like this and push us out of our land. Our goal is produce the best cacao in the world. We have a huge challenge because right now the more famous and the best come from Venezuela. But now we are close. Now we are close.
That's a nice surprise.
I think that we need to work a lot to have better community, a better society, and one of the key for that is be fair and recognize others. For example, Venezuelan cacao. But now we are real close to be the best in the world. But it's not just about quality. For us, produce the best cacao in the world is, of course, quality. But it's, of course, I think that the more important thing is the fair trade, real fair trade. No, just a certification. No, be a real fair trade. That premium cacao farmers should be paid a premium price for the premium cacao. Yeah? Because in many cases it's not real when you just find a fair trade seed in a package. In many cases it's not real. And of course, it's also care the environment and reforestation. For that reason, we are making agroforestry cacao now, and we are also making many things. For example, when volunteers come from our farm, they help us to plant not just cacao tree, also wild tree around the farm or around the river or the small river.
What tree?
Wild trees.
What are white trees?
Trees?
White trees?
Wild trees.
What are white trees?
I think wild.
Wild. Oh,
Wild.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
Thank you very much. And other of our targets is that young people and women are involved, and this word is really important for us. In Spanish is empoderado. We need that our people be empowered of our region, because one of the strategies that we have to change the things in our region is tourism. But we know that tourism can be dangerous if the people is not prepared to be authentic. But for that reason, now we have empowered people in our region, especially these young boys. Care of our traditions, environments, and community. What things we need to go in this to move forward in this direction? Bring more high quality cacao to the United States. To introduce people chocolates as a food. Because another research that we are involved is about this cacao. Is more that it's not a candy. Chocolate is a candy when you put a lot of sugar, and it's gonna be dangerous for you to eat a lot of chocolate. But when you consume dark chocolate, it's really healthy for you, and you can find in Google a lot of research about dark chocolate, how helpful is in your body. You can find in Google a lot of information, but people almost don't like read too much. I think that especially about healthy things and slow things, because people want fast solution. Just a pill, just in a few seconds solve your life, but you forget that these are gonna affect the liver or other organs in your body. Cacao is really it's a good thing. For that reason, the Mayas call this god the drink, the drink of the gods, la bebida de los dioses.
The drink of the gods, cacao. Yeah, that's a good segue to a little bit more history. Chocolate didn't exist for a long time, till maybe the early 1600s. And before that, it was only a drink. It was the ground cocoa nibs and water, maybe some jungle spices, but that was super healthy, no sugar. It was energizing because of the little bit of caffeine, and also just packed with nutrients. And yeah, maybe you can tell them about this, or do you have?
I hear history about Hernán Cortés. Hernán Cortés, when Hernán Cortés arrived to Mexico, he was the first European interested in chocolate, because he met Montezuma was a Aboriginal leader, and he had in this moment 15 wives, and was because chocolate. For that reason, he sent the cacao container to Spain, but in Europe they add a lot of sugar. For that reason, now it's not very good chocolate. You need to go back to pure chocolate. Because chocolate have cacao have methylethylamine is a molecule that make you happy, feel good, and endorphins and polyphenols and many other good things. But you need dark chocolate, and of course to make a good dark chocolate you need good cacao, because the other way, if you don't use a good cacao to make a dark chocolate, the results are gonna be not good.
What do you consider dark?
Dark?
Like what percent do you consider?
I think that 70% up.
Okay.
8.
He likes the 80 that kind of
80.
80.
Yes. Yes, I have a friend, he's a very curious man, and he have like this Montezuma, many girlfriends, and he say that nibs are really, really good. Nibs, cacao nibs. And he's a natural scientific. You can try. Nibs, a lot of 100 grams per day in use or with yogurt. It's really healthy. I don't know if Dr. Daniel read about.
The 100% chocolate is savory, so you can have it with spaghetti or in your chili. And so you're not using any sugar, it's just 100% nibs. And if I could make an example, I don't know if we can pass this around. Everyone should have one square of this, but don't use your teeth. Just let it melt in your mouth. And this is the magical chocolate of Miguel, because it's from Colombia. And let's pass that around. Let's break off a piece.
Is that 80% or 70? 70.
But the 80% is here. We can pass them. I'll pay for this.
Honest.
We can pass this around too. But the 80%, of course, it's more butter. So it's actually smoother and less bitter than the 70%. So I think you can see this. So this one we'll have to open up. But let's just break this. Yeah, break that up in pieces. But what I want to do is not to use your teeth. You're using your teeth. I'm sorry. So what's happening is when you have the chocolate, excuse me for this, when you have the chocolate in your mouth, then the theobromines are in your mouth, and they're in your throat, and you're in your esophagus. And all of that is taken up by the blood, and it goes straight to your heart and straight to your brain. As soon as you swallow it, it all goes to your liver, and all the theobromines are gone. And this is true about a lot of pharmaceuticals. So today we have a lot of rapidly dissolving tablets in the mouth, and you get much quicker onset. And if I give a piece of chocolate to my wife when she's mad at me, after 50 years, it's dated. So she responds immediately to it. So about 40% of women respond to theobromines by just feeling really good. It's a serotonin agonist. Okay, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Dr.
Gracias.
Did you saw sometime this movie, Chocolate? Chocolate movie? Okay, next.
I think I'm going to talk about this and then the next.
Okay, about,
These things, or?
okay.
I have a question. Sure. So, you ferment the beans and then dry them. Do you actually then process any into chocolate, or do you just sell the beans to people like Dan?
Yes, yes, sir.
The latter.
Yes. And we made the all the process direct because I 8 years ago when I took the decision to go real deep in this to return to my place. I read a lot about real fair trade and about how this agricultural business run. For that reason, I know all the process from, I know how to harvest the cacao tree, I know how fermented, dry, storage properly. I get the government license to export. I talk with the international transportation company and put the, I almost put the bags into this bag.
Those are
into the container and deliver here.
And this week he's making chocolate. He's got a bunch of grinders going in there, so he's also learning the final step. That's one of one of our goals, is to get it full circle. The beans come here, we make chocolate, but we want him to be making chocolate in Colombia, because most of the time the beans get shipped out of the country. They never taste the chocolate. They never see the final product. So we want Miguel to have his own little chocolate factory as the vision.
And it's very important for us be here and understand about the implication that have the quality of the beans in the chocolate, because in this way we can improve our process too. I think that it is amazing. To me, made good chocolate is a real relationship between the chocolatier and the cacao farmers, because it's an artisan chain.
Yeah, hey.
It's an artisan chain. Because when the huge company talk about cacao, they just give you a formula, just ferment by 6 days, 7 days, no more. But all the time the conditions are changing to the beans, and for that reason we need in some cases 8 days, in other cases 7 days, or in other cases 9 days. But you need to understand what is happening inside the beans to develop the perfect flavor.
Can you talk about any of this? Or?
Do you know
We have a question over here.
these colors?
Question?
Oh, question.
I was just going to ask, you had said about 95% of the cacao goes to something and about 5% goes to things like what Dan does. What's the other 95% used for?
Crappy chocolate.
That's what I was wondering, if it goes
low
to.
beans. Low
Yeah,
quality
Hershey's.
beans.
Low quality beans
Yeah.
is for. Can I use brands?
Okay, that's what I was wondering,
Huge,
Okay.
huge
The
brands,
big-
because it's not in a bad way. It's because huge companies, they cannot be delicate like aged about the quality of aged beans. They just buy
Bulk.
bulk because they need millions, 1,000 tons.
So you give them the bad stuff, right? And then the good stuff goes to them.
Yes.
And they when they roast the beans, it's almost burnt.
Yeah.
And just it. They cover all the imperfection and add a lot of sugar and some flavors.
Yeah. One of the reasons why he's working towards quality is, I don't know what the prices are, but say they can sell the bulk beans for $1 and just the farmers can sell them. But he's saying if you raise your quality, you could sell them for $3 a pound. You don't have to make as much, grow as much, but you can make more money selling less beans. And so he's trying to get more farmers learning how to ferment the beans better and to grow more quality trees, not the low quality genetics. And yeah, he's been planting thousands of trees since I met him. And, some of the best beans in the world, Criollo. So yeah, we're very excited about that.
I wanted to share with you some fresh cacao pods, but in Miami, customs take away. For that reason, we just can show you the color. It is dry, dry pot. And you know about this color, yellow, blue, red? It is Colombian flag color, for the reason. And it is the typical hat at in north of Colombia. The people really like Paris, almost all the time, Paris. And it is a typical hat. It is Dan hat now. It is a formal hat. Andes is common in the Andes, and is made with the same material, the Panama hat. It is not the same Panama hat style. It's Panama hat, Colombian style. We use the same raw material. We call this paja toquilla. It's a palm leaf. And it is also made with paja toquilla, the same material. It's just a souvenir.
Who made that? Where does that come from?
This come from my town. It's because my mother is the co-founder and the director and retirement house, charity retirement house. Yeah. And some old guys still made this in the tradition, in real old traditional way. And we are planning to send more of this to Tabal to sell in this store. Because we are trying to involve young people in these things, because the other way, in a few years, we are gonna lose this knowledge how to do this, and it is very important traditions.
It holds liquid?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. I didn't try it.
Chocolate here? No, it's not a good
No,
idea.
not
It's just for decoration. Decoration. And I think that 90% of the cacao produced in Colombia, we consume in this way liquid, drink chocolate, hot chocolate. And it is the more representative things. When we talk about chocolate in Colombia, we always think in la polleta and molinillo. Polleta and molinillo. Our parents, they eat a lot of dark chocolate we have, for that reason, we have 6 brothers. Now, we don't eat too much chocolate.
Next one.
Any questions?
Is most of the chocolate produced in your country by small farmers like yourself? Or, you know, are the chocolate companies, have they bought the farms and hire people to grow it?
It's beginning. The huge cacao plantation that belong to huge companies is beginning. That just begin like 5 years ago. It's growing up, the big companies, and the chocolate companies that exist in the country, they are going in this way too. I think that they are a little nervous about this bean to bar.
Yeah, about what he's doing, because he represents premium. They want bulk and cheap and low quality, a low price, you know, that they'll pay the farmers. So we want to pay them more.
Okay, I want to say thanks for your time, thanks for your attention, and thanks for buying our beans. And you are welcome.
What you're looking at there is our largest shipment ever. That's from Miguel, and that's 2 metric tons.
This was 6 months, 5 months ago, I think.
Yeah, I think we had 60 bags like that, and yeah, so we're happy. Our largest shipment ever. And yeah.
In 1 year, how many bags would you make? How many bags?
Per year,
Yeah.
Or how many tons per year?
we produce with the people. Right now we are working with 10 other farmers, and all together we can produce around 30 tons per year. But we have people empowered. For that reason, to produce high quality cacao, we need extra job. Make the cacao pods, selections, and other things. It's more expensive to produce high quality cacao. If we have order, we produce high quality cacao. If we have not the order, we just produce bulk cacao.
Yeah, when I order from Miguel, he's like, well, let me know like 6 months ahead, which we try and figure out, and then you can say, okay, we can, you know, collect this much for you. When he sent his last order, I think there was about 10 different farms represented there, and so we got a variety of farms that are around his farm, because his farm can only grow so much, but he's a community leader trying to help many other people improve their farms and grow the whole community. So that's the goal.
How big is your farm? Like how many acres would it be, or how many trees and how many workers?
Hectares.
Hectares.
I think in hectares.
I was just going to say, I think you can
How many hectares?
Be a hectare.
15 hectares.
Okay.
5 of these hectares is close to the river, and it's just for preservation.
Okay.
Now we are going in the bees business to try to help us.
Honeybees.
Honeybees.
Okay.
Honeybees in this small forest, and we have around 3,000 cacao trees. That is not too much because each cacao tree produce in a properly condition produce 1 kilogram per year.
So
one and a half.
for perspective, these are 30 kilogram bags. So he's saying one tree produces 1 kilo per year. So you kind of need a lot of trees.
And now we already have 500 cacao trees grafted with criollo variety, these white beans, and we are planting another 1,500 more cacao trees, this criollo variety, sponsored and supported by Dan and Dr. Daniel.
Nice, wonderful.
Can you explain grafting? What's grafting?
Grafting. Do you know about wine? About grapes? How grapes work? They graft the roses in your garden. It's something like this. If we want to propagate a specific variety, we need to graft.
So they make a little cut in the tree bark, and then they fold it back, and then say this is the new plant, they cut this branch off a great tree, because they know this is going to be a great cacao, and then they put it in the little flap there, and then wrap around, and then it grows onto the tree. And then they have this branch making...
We cut this and we left this.
Right, they cut off the top.
Yes.
Okay, then this starts growing, the better cacao,
This gonna
the
be
more
the
resistant to
variety.
disease. Yeah.
What are the competing crops? Is it coffee? What are you up against?
In our region, 30 years ago, we had a lot of coffee, but coffee demands a lot of labor, many people just in a few days, and because the war that we had, like a kind of civil war in this small area, many people was dead, or the other one was involved, was busy in fighting with other guys just because. No real reason for this, like politician things or religion things. I think that the war is a stupid thing because when you think with calm, it's not reason to kill other just because think different to you. But for that reason, no hands to collect coffee and start to be easier go into the cacao plantation, and now 70% of the agricultural area in my municipality, 70% is just cacao. We are the municipality that produce more cacao in our country in Colombia. We have a lot of cacao in my municipality. We have 15,000 hectares cacao. It is a lot of cacao. All the roads you can see cacao both sides, the mountains, cacao everywhere.
I think about 3 acres per hectare, so 45,000.
Had that land previously been coffee and now is being planted with cacao?
Yes.
Did you say citrus or oranges?
Now some guys have some orange, banana, avocado is, I think that is their important thing. The main is of course cacao. The second one is I think that is coffee. The third one cows, and the fourth one avocado.
Is there a lot of palm oil or palm?
We have palm oil fields close to our town, but it's not really in our municipality. Guava, just a few guavas in the farm just for eat. And yes, we have a lot of fruits in our farm, but just to eat. pineapples and guava and guanabana soup, something guanabana soup. Just many kinds, a lot of fruits.
Did you mention the March bicycle trip to your farms?
Oh, Miguel and I are in development of a mountain bike trip to his farm and kind of in the surrounding area, and hopefully to go into the national park, which is closed to the public. So we're excited about that, and yeah, watch for that. We're just going to take a small group of people, and Dr. Dan might take the non-bikers on some other excursions.
We'll have more fun.
Hey, no, we're going to have more fun.
Oh, so there's no boulders on these places?
Not yet. We might find some, but yeah, to get people more exposed to the area, we're excited about that in probably March.
The Bucaramanga, which is the capital of Santander, has a river like the Colorado River, which is fantastic for whitewater rafting. They have zip lines. They've got a national park with like Mount Rushmore carved into the hill.
Takes a second.
And the most beautiful village in the world is Barichara, where they don't allow asphalt or concrete. Everything is carved sandstone. So everyone that lives there is a stone carved. All the buildings, curbs, sidewalks. So except for a few bakeries, it's a great place to buy statuary.
It seems to work for Costa Rica.
Yes, very much.
Ecotourism.
Any questions from the back crowd there?
Yeah, we do have one over here. We were talking before about how long it takes 4 years for a tree to become mature and productive. How long are those trees productive?
In our way, in middle of agroforestry, 20, 30, or in some cases 40 years.
Good.
We have some trees, some cacao trees, more than 50 years old, but just special one.
When I was in Costa Rica, I saw some, what do they call them? Like heirloom trees that were 100 years old.
Oh, wow.
And the pods were pretty small. The pods were getting smaller. You know, just like 100-year-old apple tree, maybe not so productive as when it started.
Great.
Yeah, so they can get pretty old.
So better cacao from older trees or worse cacao from older trees?
Oh.
Less
We have in our farm we want to do something like a research farm, and we have old trees and young trees, and we in the future we want to start to play with this thing, because some people think that would be interesting, that good flavors. It's like with the grapes in the wine.
Like wine.
Yeah, it's possible, but we are not completely sure that.
One of the other things that's really important is the biodiversity around the trees. Cacao trees are an understory tree, so you want to have cacao and then a taller tree, like a palm tree or a coconut tree, all around. And you don't want monoculture, like seeing a big cornfield. You want tall trees, short trees. You want monkeys and other mammals and a lot of not only different plants but different animals living in that area, and that gives a really high quality to the cacao.
The industrial, the big cacao plantation, the cacao plantation in the industrial way is completely without shade.
Yeah.
For that reason, these cacao plantations are gonna die, or they need to renew in 15 years. You can search in Google bosques de cacao, Yariguíes, or just bosques de cacao, and you can find many things about the volunteer programs and things like this.
like Miguel said, he's had over 250 volunteers from around the world come to his farm. He has an eco lodge, and the big invitation is to come for 2 weeks. He will feed you and lodge you for 2 weeks if you come and experience, and maybe do a little hard labor, but not much. No labor?
No, yes, but not too hard. Labor, of course.
He wants them to come.
Yeah, boy, I shouldn't have said that.
The beauty too is you can fly to Bucaramanga, which is his capital city, with just one stop out of Chicago. So Chicago, Panama City, to Bucaramanga. And there's no customs there, so you say you're a tourist and anything you want to eat.
Bucaramanga.
And you can do the whole thing round trip for between $500 and $1,000. It's a really good deal. Copa, good labor.
Sponsor.
Other questions, or? Pretty good?
I have another question, I don't want to,
No, you're good.
I'm monopolizing the questions, I apologize.
Okay.
We're hearing a lot about climate change and seeing some of the effects. Are you seeing different weather patterns there that are affecting your crop?
It is of the reason that now we are in cacao business plantation because the weather changed a little bit for coffee too. And for that reason, we want that the people understand how important is biodiversity in our area, because as we are real close to the natural national park, if we care properly our farms, we're gonna have this good weather for many years, because this national park is 60,000 hectares, completely preserved.
Yeah, right now it's closed to the public. They're doing research. I'm not sure what the research is. We're told it's closed, but I think we have connections to the governor of the state.
In the last 5 years, they have been found like 5 new bird species and like 2 fish species and a cangrejo, crab species and a new one, and lizard species.
What kind of species?
Lizard, crab, birds.
And butterfly.
Oh.
And I know researcher, I know someone that is studying his PhD about butterflies. She is biology. Butterflies. When you want to come to visit us, now you know Dr. Daniel. How to get it.
Oh, yeah, we've got gelato for everybody. I think I'm just gonna put the cups on the table and you can help yourself. I think we've got some spoons for you back there. There's a variety of flavors. You just gotta read the top of the cup, and if you don't see what you like, I'll look for some more. But
if you want fresh cacao ice cream, you need to go to Carmen de Chucurí, Santander, Colombia. The only way.
How do they make that liquid chocolate? You talked about the liquid?
Liquid chocolate?
Yeah,
How?
yeah.
It's because 55% in the cacao beans is cacao butter.
Okay.
For that reason, when we grind,
strawberry sorbet.
it's gonna be fresh and heat, and for that reason become liquid.
Liquid. Okay. Melted.
Melted.
Chocolate lemon. That's chocolate sorbet.
Oh, the chocolates are basic, by the way.
Yeah. Thank you, Miguel. We're very very lucky to have him here and
Yes.
talked him into coming to Milwaukee.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
please help yourself to some gelato. Flavors are on the top. There's some spoons, and I thank you all for coming. Really appreciate it. This store is open too if you want to buy any chocolate or talk to Miguel.
Did you make the gelato?
No, we have an Italian friend of ours that is a gelato maker. We're especially proud of the chocolate sorbet, wherever it is here. And because they use our chocolate in it, and you usually don't see a chocolate sorbet, it's usually a fruit. But it's super dark and rich using our chocolate. And please come up, help yourself. To live Tabal is to live a happy, relationship-filled life. I'm a conduit to chocolate. I want to use chocolate to bring people together and build community. Some of the best cacao in the world right now comes from Central and South America and the Caribbean.
My father started with the cacao business around 50 years ago. That was the way that he found to feed the family, to support the family. For me, the family is a big word, and that word means many people around us. When I started looking for chocolate market for us, from the beginning I focused in the USA chocolate market. I believe that good connection with American market would be good for us. Dan was the first one that took me seriously without knowing me.
At my core, I'm an educator, and that's why when we choose a farmer like Miguel in Colombia, that I really want to make sure that his bean is distinctly different from the other beans. He was trying to introduce bean to bar chocolate makers to his beans, and I thought the beans, quite frankly, in the beginning, were not very good. And so I said, hey, this is what's good about it. This is what you need to work on. Here's some resources. I contacted a very talented grower in Costa Rica and got him hooked up with some more resources on how to ferment his beans better. 3.5 years later, we ordered our first pallet of his cacao beans, and now it's one of our favorites and best-selling chocolates.
It's an artisan chain, an artisan cacao farmers, artisan chocolate makers. They mix it, the combination that produce a nice artisan chocolate.
I'm thrilled with the fact that we've stuck with Miguel and that he has felt that support, that if he's going to grow those beans, they're going to be bought.
We can dream, we can inspire to others to live better, but now the people is starting to dream again.
I like to think of it as a developing thing over the long term, mutually beneficial. If we're successful, I want the farmer to be successful. I want good quality. They want access to market in the United States.
1840 was the first year a commercial brewery started in the city of Milwaukee. We picked that name because it's a very important time in Milwaukee's history. We wanted to call to mind the types of beer we make. You know, we make slow beer here. I call it consumable art. It's a way to reach back into the past and bring it forward while also looking forward to the future. My wife and I love the community aspect of it, the fact that this beverage brings people together. Beer for me is a journey of education and learning, and I'm always trying to discover more. Anytime that we create a recipe and we want to use things that we've never used, like chocolate, I lean on people who know what they're doing.
We've had a variety of brewers come in, and we'll lay out probably 10 different nib origins. We have a flavor profile that we present with each nib. It's exciting for them because they never get to do that. It's a very unique experience.
We went out to Tabal and met with Dan and his crew, getting feedback from them. Like, how do I incorporate chocolate? Explain to me the process, because I want to know how they make what they make so that I understand how it's going to translate into what we make. We know we're having a real impact when we're buying this stuff in bulk from people who work directly with the farmers who are producing it. And so while we get to see the direct impact that our products can have on our local community, it's neat to know that our products are also having an impact that's worldwide.
When you buy a Tabal chocolate bar, you are supporting good people.
When you buy Tabal chocolate, you have a ripple effect all the way back to the farmers that are growing the cacao that we use to make this chocolate. So it's a worldwide effect. It might be small, but it's growing.